Hello, hello all participants. A very warm welcome to this webinar today. My name is Fleidl. I am the chairman of the social dance branch, and on my side is my daughter. She will help me also to run this webinar. There was always the wish from the members during the time from pandemic also, and then before. Now we are happy nearly all over the world that our social dancing schools can work again. So the business is going on. And I think that is now the correct time that we can run this webinar. I would like to thank, of course, for the support from Board of Directors, by our President, Tony Burns, and also many thanks to Hannes Emmerich, our General Secretary, who prepared all these technical roundabouts. Therefore, today I want to provide you with webinars concerning the topic of social dance schools today. Maybe, as you know, we have also a big dancing school here in Austria since 44 years. And our teaching system for social dancers is the system what my really best friend, Rudi Trautz, has now written down in his fantastic book. Firstly, Martina Trautz will present the book of him. The title from this book is The Art of Teaching Social Dance. This book, only for your information, is already been accepted to be the official book for social dance examinations. Martina will present it now, and if you have some questions, then please do that via chat, and then we will try to bring your questions forward to Martina, and she can then answer you. About the second webinar today, I would like to talk to you then later on. So have fun and take care. And Martina, thank you very much in advance for your being here. And I may hand it now over to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Fleidl. Hello, everybody. It's nice to have you here. I don't see you, but I think you can hear me and you can see me. So first of all, Ferry, I want to thank you for inviting me, that I can speak today about Rudi's book about the art of teaching social dancing. This is it. Of course, I do it in the spirit of my husband, Rudi Trautz, who wrote this book. And I have to say we did it together. We spoke a lot about everything because, in fact, I'm the one who are standing since 40 years now. Oh my God, 40 years. I do this social dancing classes and I do it with a lot of love. So it is really also my subject, and we did this book together. Why did we wrote this book, and why is it worth to speak about the art of teaching social dancing? What is the art about it? So I think Germany is a country where a lot of people worry about the system of teaching social dances, because this is how we earn our money, and we have many years of experience. You saw the flyer from Ferry and you just heard it, that after me, 4 other people will speak about this subject, so that you will also see that there is not only one system to teach social dances. In Germany, really, we have a lot of people who are going on with this subject, and I think it's really interesting for you all to hear also different opinions. But of course, as I wrote in the preface of the book, the more you are involved in the subject, the more creative ideas you will develop to vary the teaching concept that suits to your personality. That is really important. Every social dance teacher has its own personality and therefore a little bit his own method of teaching. But of course, social dancing had one common idea. What idea is it? You try to find the most easiest system to teach dancing in an easy way with a lot of fun and entertainment, so that everybody can learn it, no matter how old or how fit she or he is. That is very important. You know, many studies say that more than 50% of our students are not coming because they want to learn cha-cha-cha or jive or tango. They are coming with extrinsic reasons. Perhaps they want to spend a nice evening with a husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, or they are alone at home. They want to see other people, communicate with other people, or they have an event for that they want to learn Viennese waltz, marriage, for example. So they are not coming only to dance or to learn dance. So very important is, if you do social dancing, you do it in classes, not in private lessons, because the interaction among people in these groups is also very important. Your goal is to make your students stay as long as possible with you. And therefore, one very important thing is also the cohesion in the group. When they like it there, then they will stay, of course. So what Rudi did in his book, he has taken our dance school in Augsburg as an example. And we have a quite big and, I say, very successful dance school in Augsburg. So I think the example is not so bad. He took our school to show how you can build up the ability to dance from the first step through different levels and getting better and better, but never be overwhelmed and always having fun whilst you're learning. In fact, he didn't write this book for Germany because we know a lot about social dancing, but for all countries who don't have a social dancing in classes until now, but perhaps want to invent it, because it's really a good system for earning money. And on top, you make your students happy. I am working, for instance, together now with a nice gentleman from Romania, Cornel Tataru, who really wants to invent a social dance system in Romania. He has been for 4 days in Augsburg, watching our classes, watching our dance live, watching the system. We're talking a lot about everything. He tried to understand everything. And he's also online. Perhaps I would love if he say something after my teaching, or after my talking, sorry, if you like.
Hello.
Okay. Ah, hello.
Hello. I'm here. Thank you. Can I speak now, if you want?
You can speak now if you want.
Yes. Thank you very much for this opportunity, and for sure, I was impressed what I learned and what I saw in Augsburg and also in Munich with Mr. Müller. It's the book I learned. I read it, and for sure it will be a very big step ahead for organizing social dancing in a very WDC way, as I may say it. So I'm very happy that we are doing this, and for sure I want to also thank to Mr. President, Mr. Polai, who is there for us and who is helping us a lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Cornel. Yeah, what we did in Augsburg, and then later on per emails, we did an education plan based on Rudi's book, and we also did an examination plan. Cornel is the first one who will have his exam now in Blackpool. And after that, so he will be the first international social dance teacher, WDC. And after that, we will both together educate all the other Romanian dance teachers in the system, and they can also be social dance teachers, WDC. That's the goal. And this could perhaps also be interesting for other countries. Okay, we go a little bit deeper in the subject now. I already said that teaching social dancing must be that everybody can learn it. Nowadays, you have a lot of people in every age whose motor and coordinating skills are not good at all. So learning to dance must be very easy. Easy steps, no technique, unless it's necessary. For instance, Viennese waltz. You have to say, or you have to get them a little bit on the ball of foot, otherwise they can't cope with the speed. But also this you can do with a gaming thing. I do it like we go, we have a big circle, and we also do like this, and then we go forward and backward, take the arms with us, and I say do the same with your knees that you're doing with your arms. And only by saying this, they go a little bit upward. So that's a kind of technique, but it's not really doing technique, you know? So normally, no technique. On the other hand, very important is the joy of moving together with a partner to a nice music, enjoying the togetherness in a group of like-minded people in a nice surrounding. Okay, I make a special example. If you do, for example, English waltz, you don't have to teach rise and fall, of course. You don't have to teach big steps, big amount of turn. Of course, no sway, no special footwork. They only do forward to side, close, backward to side, close. Don't wear dance shoes, sorry. So for example, I have my special shoe here, very nice to dance in a beginner class, and I do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's all they need to know at the beginning. Then they need to turn. So that's very important. How can men lead the lady? That is important. How can they make her start, make her stop, make her turn? This is important skills for a good social dancer. Let them take a relaxed hold. They don't need body contact or high arms. This is not a social dancing. This is a social dancing. Okay, the same, for instance, cha-cha-cha and rumba. You don't have to teach them hip movements or special foot tracking in the beginning. You do just normal steps as easy as you can. Try to teach them how to recognize the rhythm, make a lot of musical exercises, and again, let them enjoy the music. The choice of music that you take for a beginning class is very important. For instance, if I take, I hope you will hear it. If you take a waltz for a beginner, This is the good music for a beginner. They can clap the one. This is good if you, for instance, take something, I don't know, if a very elaborated waltz, it's not good. Don't count a lot. Let them try by themselves. All these hints are written in the book. And also you will find very simple basic steps for every dance in the first 2 levels. For us in Augsburg, the first 2 levels are the basic levels where you learn the fundamentals in every dance. We do it in 2 levels. You will hear from the others that there are also other possibilities to do it. Also, you find in the book dances like solo disco, merengue, blues, disco fox, which is a very, very important dance in Germany. Normal foxtrot, not slow foxtrot, but foxtrot, which has nothing to do with quick step, or social slow, which is a simplified form of slow foxtrot. And also in the book, you will find very detailed, described methods of how to teach these steps. If you open the book, you find 3 different fonts. So I can tell you perhaps here, I don't know if you can see it. You have a normal font for the explanations of the steps and the hints for the teacher. Then you have italic fonts for some kind of literal speech. So Rudi gave propositions for sentences the teacher could speak, could say. This is only for helping really guys who never did something with social dancing. And you have bold letters for important statements. For him or for me, very important, like looking and reacting to what your students are doing is the hallmark of a great teacher. So you have very often sentences like this to help you. You will find a detailed description of every single lesson, beginning with first class of level 1 until 8th class of level 6. Also, you find a chapter then of how to make a social dance school successful. Okay. If you want, then I can afterwards, after I told you everything, can give an example for first lesson, for instance. Okay. I repeat, we do all this to find the most easiest way to teach dancing for everybody. And we want them to stay as long as possible. Best for the rest of their life. Because again, we want to earn money. So always repeat a lot. Don't continue before everyone is able to do it. Make a lot of musical exercises so that your students get the ability of recognizing a dance and hear the rhythm. Another very important thing for a good social dance school is the surrounding. The bar, the sitting, the decoration of the rooms, and so on. You have to offer special parties where they can practice. You can do motto parties, or I don't know, 70, 80, something like that. Or you can make a food party where you offer something to food, or a special cocktail party, or everything what's in your mind. You will also find examples in our book. Again, those first 2 classes are the classes where you have to catch your students. If they got enthusiastic there, they will stay with you. And that's what you want. I quote a very important for me, a very important sentence in Rudi's book and from Rudi. Before you enter the class, tell yourself that you have got the most wonderful job and profession. You bring happiness, health, fitness, and social contacts to your students. They pay for it and still thank you for what you do for them. What can be a better profession? I think that's very true. Of course, you find a lot more in our book. We also describe how after these basic levels, you can improve the dancing and go on for years. And again, the list of figures and the system with different levels is an example and can always be changed and modified. It's always in a process. Whilst this book was printed, for instance, we again changed something. We put something out, put something new in, and this is always the thing, because we always try to get better. And pupils are also changing in years. What we did 20 years ago, we can't do today. So everything is changing. Very important also, we simplify the way of learning dancing, but we never ever tell something wrong. If we tell something about leading and following, or about turning, or about using leg and feet, we do it in a simple way, but they get the same information we would give to a competitive couple. Your students are not silly idiots. They are able to recognize if you try with your heart and your soul to make them good dancers, customized to their capabilities. Okay, so to come to an end now, as I already told, the WDC tries to invent the professional dance teacher with Rudi's book as the basics for the examination. Maybe I could arouse your interest for the subject. I'm looking forward for questions or examples. Believe me, it's worth it. Thank you very much for listening. For me, it was really an emotional thing today, because I saw Rudi sitting next to me and looking over my shoulder, and yes, I miss him very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Martina. Thank you very much. I am sure, Martina, Rudi listened to you and listened to us.
I'm sure he was very happy.
And I'm really very happy to have you here. Ladies and gentlemen, dear participants, if you have some more questions, please don't hesitate to ask us. Send us your chats. And Martina, maybe can you just say the contact address for...
Yeah, so where people can contact you for the book, for the examination, for the whole system. So if you want to, you can also write it in the chat, or people can ask you. It's just that we would like to provide the participants with more information regarding the exams and ordering of the book and everything. So I think it would make sense to put that on the website as well after this webinar, because the recording will be put on the website in around a week.
So I can tell it, it's very easy, martina.trautz@gmx.de. So you have it on, but I can also write it.
So any request will be sent to this email address. I will also write it in the chat, just in case of people don't know how to write the name Trautz. It's possible.
Okay.
gmx.de, right?
GMX, yeah.
Yeah, it's there. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Is that correct?
Yes, it's
Okay,
correct.
Martina.
Yeah.
Kind regards and thank you. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. See you
It was great
soon as
seeing
possible.
you. And I hope you stay for the second part of the webinar.
Of course, I will.
Okay.
So
Thank
I
you.
have to switch the camera out, or what?
No stress.
So,
Okay,
Take
no
the
stress.
microphone off. See you soon.
Now, bye. See you next week.
Blackpool.
so. Pause.
We just have a
dann-
2-minute break and then we will hand over to Niki, Evelyn, Oliver, and Matthias. See you in 2 minutes.
Hello, once again. Ferry Pulai, the chairman of the Social Dance Branch. Ladies and gentlemen, dear participants, now we are coming to our second webinar today. I must thank especially my colleague from Austria, from Salzburg. He is also the owner of one of the biggest Austrian dancing schools, Niki Seifert. He brings this idea to me, to us, to the executive board, to present also other possibilities to run social dancing schools. Once again, I would like to thank to our board of directors, to Mr. Donny Burns, as president, for the support to arrange that. And you know, we are this year, some of us are in Blackpool, but I know that not so many people, colleagues, can come this year. I hope, and we hope, that a present big seminar, we can arrange that for you all together by the next possibility. But now, may I overhand to my colleague Niki Seifert. Bitte übernehmen.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Greetings from Salzburg, Austria. We are doing the second part in cooperation. I just give you a brief overview what we have planned, and then I hand over to my colleagues. As Ferry said, we have a big school in Salzburg. We had also the course system in former times, and we changed it, but more of that a little bit later. Yes? First of all, I would like to thank and congratulate our president of the Social Dance Executive Board, Mr. Ferry Pulai, that under his leadership, finally something started to move in this WDC organization. I know he would rather have more movement, but what's going on right now with these webinars is a lot more than in the last few years and decades. I have been on the board for a long time, and I know that many good ideas and campaigns have repeatedly come to nothing, unfortunately, because of the lack of the participation of the countries visiting Blackpool, because in our organization, I think we have to have direct contact to the social dance teachers and not to the competitive trainers, mostly being in Blackpool. These two webinars today are primarily intended to help countries that do not have their own vocational training for dance teachers, like Romania. In the previous seminar, you learned a possible way of structuring lessons for beginners as well as for advanced learners. By Mrs. Trautz was presented the new book, yeah, The Art of Social Dancing, with dances, figures, teaching tips, and for mainly an 8-week course system, but everyone can change it. We now would like to give you an alternative perspective and some ideas on how to make teaching for couple dance as easy as possible, especially for adults, with the main goal of maximizing the time they visit your dancing school. Yeah, it's the same aim like Martina stressed out. The longer the couples stay, the longer they pay and therefore increase your profit. The costs of getting new students are much more expensive than keeping existing customers longer in your school. Therefore, it's very important, I think. We would like to start by giving a brief overview of some different ways of social dance schools can offer, or how they can offer their teaching. Mr. Matthias Müller will speak about systems and the row-based system. We declare it afterwards what that meant, because the German name we usually use for this kind of teaching would have brought your mind in a different direction. Yes. Then Mr. Oliver Fleidl will take the opportunity to show how to structure one teaching lesson, especially if you have very little content, and how maybe an employed dance teacher is able to have a guideline how to do it. And particularly, I'm really pleased that in the end of our webinar, we were able to welcome Miss Evelyn Herman, who, while searching through the dance archives, found a technique book from the 1920s about teaching social dance at a time when the competitive dancing has not even been invented at that time. She will give us a brief outline and the most important principles of the Butler technique. She will be assisted by her daughter Gabi Hesse. Together, they are working on a publication of a revised social dance technique. When you run a dance school, you have to find your way and system of which you are convinced. Yes, most of the time that will be the way you learned it yourself, or operate this way because it has always been this way. But time changes, and so do the desires and the demands of your customers. And I think we have to react on modern ideas, because people are very stressed in their working time, so they don't have to have in the evening a hard teaching again. The main difference between some systems you can run your dance school are group lessons, yes, and there we can decide or divide between two different points. Yes, group lessons are all the lessons that are not individually agreed and they are a part of a fixed timetable of your dance school. The number of couples that you can taught at the same time depends on the size of your room or the number of the dance teachers and their assistants. Consider that since Corona, customers have developed a different feeling of and awareness of the closeness to other people. It will be therefore not so soon that we will fill up our rooms to the maximum again. And therefore, you have to check your cost prices, because if you have less people in the room, you have to make it a little bit more expensive, maybe. Yes. We have courses with fixed dates and scheduled end. That is the way when you sorry. If you have an 8, 12 or 16 weeks course, there's always an end. And then you have the problem that the pupils have to resign again for the next level. So that can be a problem if you have schedule ends. Yes, but later on, Mr. Matthias will talk a lot about that. We personally favorite courses with fixed dates, but flexible start dates with no scheduled ends. Yes, these courses usually have individual self-contained parts. Each segment usually lasts for a week. Since the segments are self-contained, there is the possibility for new couples to join in the starting or changeover week of each segment. So they can start all 4 weeks, and it's easier to bring them to your classes. When we speak about teaching systems, we also have to take we have to mention private lessons. Yes, especially you can do these private lessons are usually arranged individually depending on the availability of a dance teacher with a free dancing room. In some countries, it's quite common that when you book a private lesson, you have your own dance teacher, but several private lessons are held in the same room at the same time. We don't do it in Europe and Austria, especially we don't do this way. But if you look to maybe England or America, that's quite usual that one private lesson is to the next and you are in the same room. There could be one-to-one lessons in the private lessons segment. That means the teacher dances with the customer, him or herself. Yeah. There are 2 big franchise systems. We know Arthur Murray or Fred Astaire. They do a mixture between mostly private lessons with some scheduled group lessons with specific teaching topics. And they also have their dance parties where they come together. Normally they are convinced to take part in pro-am competitions, yes, where the dance teacher is then also paid extra. So it's if you would do this system, you have to keep each dance teacher has to keep his space of pupils, so he's getting more money because the studios normally have a little fee of employees, and then they get the money directly when they do more lessons. Couple lessons, the customers book a dance teacher in your school. This is usually the case when the couple is preparing for a special occasion like marriage or the visit of a gala ball, or if it's not possible for the couple to take part in regular courses because they are engaged professionally and they have not regular time to visit them. Yes. So the major point I want to speak about in the moment is that whether you do private lessons or do group lessons, you always have to know how much 1 hour of your teaching costs. And we normally do that. This is the way. I just do it briefly, and I have a written handout on a web page. We send you then the address, and you can read it because it's a little bit long. Normally, if you want to know this performance hour, what costs you have to have all your costs from your studio, from the toilet paper over the glowing lighting bulbs till the fees for your employees. Everything you have to count together, and then you have to divide it through the teaching time you really do in your school. And then you know how much costs me 1 hour teaching, and that should be the base to be really profitable. Because if you just do say, yes, my colleague next to me just takes this money, you have to do it the way that you know what costs do you have in 1 hour. One special type you also should think of is that sorry, I've lost it. Yes, we should also think not only to have the people in your classes, because since the Corona time, we know that a lot of people are using hybrid dance teaching. That means we do it, for example, in our school, always on the first evening of the week, we are streaming all the lessons, and we have still customers who are not able to come or are afraid to come because of Corona, and they are able to join in your classes, but also can afterwards look the normal that are in the classes can watch it afterwards. Last week, for example, I had a couple was not in the classes since 2 weeks because they were on holiday, and they came back to my lesson, and I saw, oh, they can do all the stuff we did the last 2 weeks where they were on holiday. And I said, yes, we watched the stream, and therefore we are able to join without having problems to not knowing the steps and combinations we did the last 2 weeks. Yes. So I think we should also think about new techniques we can combine with our normal class teaching. Yes. It will the online teaching will never replace the thing we do in the classes, but for the reasons, if someone is ill and he can't come, or if he's on holiday, normally they would come to me to the office and say, oh, we are 3 weeks now on holiday, we can't pay our monthly payment, can you park our fees? Nowadays we mentioned that that's going down because they can watch them online on the website. Yes. So my part is already ready, and I would hand over to Matthias, and he will speak about different
Okay.
Ich schmeiß die ganze Ding, alles gut.
Schreibt es wieder ein? Geht's wieder?
Ja, also es sind alle Co-Hosts, Niki, gerade dass du weißt. Die anderen sind alle Co-Moderatoren, also jeder kann sich im Prinzip selber einen ausschalten und Screen sharen. Deswegen haben wir das so gemacht. Ja?
Passt. Ja. Okay, if there are questions afterwards, we speak afterwards. Now I hand over to Matthias. He is on the different courses.
Okay, a warm hello to everybody all over the world who's joining this session. I'm very glad that I have the opportunity to talk about different ways to organize content. So my part of the demonstration of the webinar is just to explain you the 3 most popular models we have in Germany and Austria, how we can organize the content of our dance lessons, which is totally independent of the content. You can put lots of content in each of the system, and you can put little content in each of the systems. So the question how much you teach is independent on the question which system you want to use. I'm especially thankful to Martina Trautz to naming all that we share in common. The idea to bring everybody to dance, the idea to hold them as long as possible, possibly as long as they live. And this is a very good situation for us because money and ethics go in the same direction. If we hold them for a long time, they love to dance. And if they are a long time with us, they give us lots of money. So the economical and the ethical part is overlapping in our profession. And this is very special to me. Okay, let's jump into the scene. I try to share my screen. Let's look if it works. So do you all see the slides, different systems, how to run your dance school? Okay, thank you, Martina, for nodding. So I know that the technique is working. Before I start, I want to introduce the so-called, what I call the quality pyramid. So we have, in my opinion, 3 classes of dancing couples. We have the sportive, the competitive classes, world champions, competition dancer, mass sport dancers. I don't know if in other countries of the world there is such a movement like in Germany when people are just going for jogging workout without going to competition. We call it mass sport dancers. Then we have the long-time customers, the dance circles, and we have the medalists, and we have for sure the beginners. And still in, I think, all of the countries, we have social dancers that are not coming to our dance studios, and for sure those who deny dancing at all. I don't know the exact numbers for the other countries, but for Germany and Austria, it's about this relevant. And for me, it's a big pity because we all love dancing and we all want to have more people in our studios to share this fun. But it's only 1.5% that are typically customers to the dance studios. I would like to lower this barrier to the social outside dancers. And I think, again, this is common to us all. And the question is how to achieve this goal most easy. That's the dream we all have. Okay, let's go again. We have a dilemma. We have a dilemma because if you put on the y-axis the amount of steps and the difficulty of the content you offer to the people, to the couples, and on the x-axis the dance time in months or years or the time, and we already mentioned the longer they stay, the more they spend money with us. So we have economical growth and prosperity in the long hand. Then this could be a possible learning curve, but at a certain point, everybody has his personal stress limit breakpoints when that what he has to learn is harder than that what he's able to perform. And then we have the end of fun. So I don't know any studio in Germany or Austria that was putting more content to the classes. I only know studios that are lowering the amount of content per class since I'm in the job, since 30 years at least. And every year, every 10 years, you say, oh, how comes what seemed to us easy 10 years ago is now complex to the couples? Are they going mad? Are they not so able to move as they did before? And I think the idea is some other thing. So the dancing studios all in the German-speaking part of the countries try to flatten the curve. And therefore, the end of fun is a little bit later. And again, you could do this further on, but sometimes it's always there, the end of fun. And the problem is that over a lifetime, the stress limit could even lower. I have customers that dance since 50 years. They started with 16 years and now they are 66. Sometimes some of them are over 70. So the ability and the agility of them to perform steps and complex variations is going down. So we have to take care of them unless we don't want to lose them. This is what I try to figure out, that there are individual stress limits and breakpoints, which I'd love to take care of too. So it doesn't matter how little or how slowly we teach, as long as something's added, we will surely sometime become too much and we'll reach then the end of fun, which is for us even the same, the end of money. So if we are in the system, we systematically throw them out at some point. So this is the classical dance class system. You have a beginner class, and then you have an advanced class, and maybe a bronze, a silver, a gold star, a whatever, and so on level. And these all are exactly defined amount of lessons, possibly 8 or 10 or whatever you name. And typically the customers pay one time at the beginning of the class and the booking ends automatically. And what we can see here is that the customer every time has to resubscribe. So until he gets to whatever, he has to sign 5 or 6 times, and he has to pay it 5 or 6 times. And if he occasionally is doing nothing, he vanishes. He has to actively do something to go on with dancing. If he's not doing anything, he's away. Therefore, we have a subscription club system, which is mostly invented in Germany in the middle of the 90s, which says, oh, we have continuous classes from the beginners, and they keep in the same day of the week to the same time, possibly with the same teacher, and they are always in the closed group, and you can individually adjust the content to the needs and the wills of the participants of this group. So it's easier for them to develop from beginners to long-time dancers. It's an indefinite amount of lessons. There is no end point. There is not in the 10th or in the 8th hour, this class is ended. So you start and you go on as long as you want. They have a periodical payments. And for sure, this requires that if a couple wants to stop dancing, they have to sign out. They have to send you an email, I want to quit. So the principle is sign in once, dance, and sign out if you're done. With this system, you have you make it easier for them to stay, and you make it easier for yourself to can adjust content to the individual needs of the specific group. This is what we call a subscription system or club system. This was developed a little bit more, and we now name it the rotating binding system. And this maybe is a little bit complicated for those of you who heard this for the first time. The idea is to have the content arranged circle-wise. I hope your internet is fast enough so that you can see that this circle is turning, and every letter stands for maybe 4 hours. Could be 3, could be 5. That's up to you. That's up to the business, how you run it. But usually it's 4 lessons per letter. Could be 3 letters in a circle, could be 4. That's totally up individually. And the customers jump on this rotating class system, and they stay as long as they want in this level of complexity and difficulty, as long as they feel fit to change to maybe the next phase, which again is a wheel with maybe more letters, blocks, little pieces of information. And the change from one circle to the next circle is taken individually. This was what was, for me personally, the key feature. We all know that we have customers who learn quick. We all know that we have customers that are struggling. And this is the only system I know when we can organize individual learning speed structurally without the need to give the better couples some extra doing, without the need to care, especially on those who are struggling. But this is a system where the customers, but the couple itself can decide how long they stay in the level 1, and when they feel fit. Sometimes they make 1 turn, sometimes they make 2 turns, sometimes they make 3 or 4 turns. They stay even for a year or so in the first level before they change to the next level. And for sure, after the second, you could do a third one, which even is longer. And again, they change when they feel ready to go to the next point. And you can create circles as many as you want. The big advantage is that the higher groups usually have a similar amount of couples in the groups, because it's longer. It's possible longer to go inside. The difficulty of all the letters in one circle have to be more or less the same. There is no gradual increasing difficulty. It's just like a level difficulty. But this is possible to do this without any issue. So the basic idea is we have a repeating definite amount of lessons per level. The couples can change when they feel ready or fit. We have the organized way to organize individual learning speed. We have no overload. We have no end of fund or end of money. And for sure, we have periodical payment, and we have a required sign out if somebody wants to quit. So this is sign in once, dance, and hopefully never sign out. When you remember the breakpoint lines I had in the chart with the learning curve, we in our dance studio, we are doing the system since 2004, which is now 16 years. We encounter couples that went to the third or fourth or fifth circle, but then realized that this is too complex for them, and then went back to the third level and stayed there for years. So this is the goal is that the couples themselves decide, and they can go up, and for sure they can go down. And if they go down, the program maybe is repeating once a year or every 2 years. So there is no situation where they say, oh, I did this sometimes. No, if it repeats over a year, it's fine for them. And then they are in a certain difficulty level where they can stay maybe forever, or maybe if they're going older, if their agility is going down, if they cannot move that much anymore, they can even go to the circle more on the left side where the figures and combinations are even more easier because they were designed by purpose more for beginners. And this is, for me, the key feature in the organization of the dance class. Okay, this exactly was what I intended to offer to you. I know the third thing is, if you see it for the first time, a little mind-breaking, because we all are used to have a hard time thinking about introducing new couples in the, let's say, 9th lesson of a class, or even in the 13th lesson of a class. And we say this is impossible. They learn so much that you can't introduce. It's not impossible. We have lots of studios. Niki Seifert does so. We are doing so. Evelyn and Gabi are doing so. So it's easily possible to find content that stays on the same level in each circle, and it's there is no problem to introduce them on these kind of circles, and to keep them happy with dancing. So if there are any questions for this part, I'm happy to answer them. I see Evelyn.
Yes, thank you very much, Matthias. I understand very well what you try to explain, but I have a question. Could you please change the direction of your wheels in line of dance?
Okay, next time I will do this. I thought it was clockwise.
I see.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions, unless the rotation direction of the circles? For a robust system, it doesn't matter how many blocks, how many letters you put in a circle. Most common, it's 3 blocks for beginners, but I know dance studios that made 4. I made 4 in this presentation because then the circle was round and not going like crazy. So there was no intentional coincidence. Usually it's 3 blocks in the first level, and usually it doubles to the second, to the third, and so on. And this is very good, because if you double the length of a circle, you don't need so many slots in your schedule. Yeah, you start, for example, with 3 parallel classes in the beginners, and you can leave them open for 3 months or 4 months in this example. And then after 4 months in this example, or 3 months in the other ways, for the first time, you need another 3 slots for the second level. But this then stays there for the double time the first circle lasted, so for 8 months. So the first time you were sparing 4 slots, and then it starts to go really good, because in the third level you keep it usually for 8 months or for 12 months or whatever, and then you are in a very comfortable situation, because you don't have to block so many slots for so many different levels of dance classes. Evelyn, your hand is still up, or again?
Yeah,
up?
no, again.
Again, yeah.
Again. Did you always use this system, or did you had in the beginning of your dance school another system?
I started with the club system I mentioned before, this one. This is when I started. And this was because when I learned the profession, I heard never take them apart their dancing day. If the couple is willing to go to dance on Friday, keep them on Friday. You may change the room, you may change the hour, you may change the teacher, but never change the day. And this was so deep in my mind, and my dance studio I owned before, there was a problem on Fridays. I could offer on Fridays only the level 1, 2, 3 and not the level 4. And in my head, it was a big issue that, wow, then I have to throw out customers that reserve the Friday for themselves, and I don't have the opportunity to offer them Friday the possibility to go on. But when I realized that the individual learning speed is there organized, this was a big advantage to me. So I switched in 2004. And in the 3 years after I switched, it really came one time to this sad situation that a couple said, oh, the now offered 3 ways for the level 3 are not fitting to our needs, so we have to quit. This happened one time. But tons of times, couples said, wow, that's super. I don't not only have 3 possible dates for the level 1, I again have 3 for level 2, and again for level 3, and again for level 4. I keep my flexibility. I can every week choose which day is the good day for me in that week to come. Or even if the studio works it out, you can urge them the possibility to come 2 or 3 times to the same lesson, so they get it easier from the head and the feet. So when I changed, I only want to say my greatest fear came up exactly one time, and tons of customers had lots of profit because they had multiple dates per week per level. I see another hand up with the nice woman beneath Fleidl. Sorry, I don't know the name.
I'm his daughter. Sorry, I'm Julian. Nice to meet you.
Hello, Julian. Nice
so my question is, how long did the transition period take you from the club system to the rotating one? How long was the process?
The most comfortable process for the studios is just to start.
Okay,
so you invent your circle 1.
There was no problem at all because it was just like a direct transition from one to the other system.
No, I would suggest to let it grow. Yeah, when I started 2004, we had 3 months of level 1, and then we opened level 2. After half of a year, we opened level 3, and so on. So it grows from the bottom to the upside. You don't have to care about the 6th level before you start, because what you usually realize is while planning from the scratch, we are making lots of things that turns out they don't work. So the best way is just build your level 1. And then when you have your experiences with the level 1, build your level 2. And then if you see how it works, build your level 3. That would be my suggestion, how to build up aerobics from the part of the content.
Okay, get it. Thank you.
And the transition part is hard for us for the first 2 rounds, because we have to change our mindset that it's totally normal to introduce new couples in the 5th hour of a class. So it's a first hour. Every 4 weeks we have a first hour, not the 1st, not the 5th, not the 9th, but a first hour. It's in hour number 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's a big issue for ourselves, because in our minds we are used to count this 1 to 10 thing. We are used to count the endless clubs and so on. And for the customers that come to the new system, for them it's totally normal, because they know nothing else. For them it's easier to understand than for the dance teachers and for the owners of the business to change their mindset. That is a big issue.
Like I've been working with the class system with the 8 or whatever, or X evenings since 1998. So I'm sure the transitioning is more difficult for all of us than for the clients. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Evelyn again.
Yes. could you show us a weekly timetable of your school?
Actually, I'm not prepared to do that, but I can try to make some improvisation, because I'm not sure if this is very helpful, because I have a special school, and this special school means that I'm in the luxury position to offer every level on every day. This is a specialty, but this is not necessary for the Robus. You can do Robus in a one-room dance class perfectly. It then has to be adjusted in a little other way than if you have plenty of room and slots, and you can then do more comfortable and more flexible schedule. But I can show you my schedule, but it's very important for me to clarify. You don't need to have 3 rooms. You don't need to have a shift system. You can do a Robus system with a 1-person, 1-room studio all over the world. And you can do it with a 2-room system. You can do every architectural implication is possible to have a Robus system if you want to have it. I can show you, this is our schedule. I hope it's not disturbing. So if you just look on the lower half, you can see our, we call it letters, and in Germany we name it Tanzen, T-A-N-Z-E-N. This is our letters. The T is the first level, and then we go to the A, and then we go to the N. So we have a T on Mondays on 1930. We have a T on Tuesdays on 2030. We have a T on Wednesdays, and so on. So we try to mix a little bit, sometimes a little earlier in the evening, sometimes a little bit later, so everybody can fit its needs. And this we could realize on every letter of our system. But this is very important to me. This is not necessary. Before I moved to that studio I have now, I was in a studio with 2 rooms less, and I could not offer every letter on every day, which is pure luxury, I know. And I could only offer every letter on 3 days, and it wasn't every time the same. So the T was on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and the A was on Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, and that was no problem. The customers are used to look what is the schedule, and they go to the slot they want to. So I don't want to embarrass anybody with this plan, because it's not that, it seems not so simple. But the most important message is, if you are interested in this, contact anybody of the second lessons. We all have our Robus system since years and have done our experiences. 2 things for me are still important to mention. The Robus system is just organizing that everybody can learn as fast as he wants. This is, for me, perfect. How much content you put in, or how few content you put in, that's an independent decision. So I'm strongly convinced that a class system with less clever chosen content will always win against a high class, high level Robus system. I think content beats a system. Personality beats everything. Content beats system. System is helping. So the best way, if you have a very good teacher in the middle of the room that is giving to the couples content that they can use outside the dance studio and is making them feeling the fun and the joy, and they have success in what they learn. And then if you, again, on the 3rd level, you put a Robus underneath, you structurally avoid to bring them to these breakpoints and end of fun.
Okay, thank you very much, Matthias. I have for those who want to have a little bit more insight of what we are doing, I have the plan of our school, the step sheets that all my employed dance teachers have to work off. You can watch on a website, so you can understand the level system Matthias just said, and that we can do also such a timetable on this website, so you can see it individually. If you write me an email on niki@tanzschule-seifert.at, I send you the address of the homepage and give you the access data, so you can see what we are doing. Maybe I get another school so you can compare it, and we have a different things between. Yes. So we want to hand over to Oliver. He is preparing something concerning one of these lessons. Yes, because sometimes the content of the hour is so minimum to make it as easy for the people that employed dance teachers have problem to say, I'm finished in 5 minutes, so watch Oliver and you will understand. I hope.
Yes, hello everybody. Many thanks to my dear colleagues Niki and Matthias. We've known each other for many years, and I'm happy to make a small contribution today. To be honest, I'm pretty nervous, and I hope my English is prepared for these topics. And now I hope that technology plays along. Everyone can hear me? I hope so. Yes. And now you can see my presentation. Hopefully. Is it true? Okay, thank you very much. I would like to contribute some aspects of the topics of teaching. I've been training dance teachers for almost 20 years, focusing on teaching and lesson planning. So for me, the focus is on the second part of our professional title, dance teacher. Yeah. Please note that the target group of my ideas are trainees and young colleagues with little teaching experience. So what's about? No matter what system the dance schools use, the reality is that most of the time there's no time or resources for real training in teaching. So the young people are often left to their own resources. In my experience, new colleagues find it difficult to allocate time teaching appropriately. As a rule, they tend to teach much too fast. That's why they often run out of program. The less teaching experience they have, the more often they look at the clock. This puts a lot of pressure on our young colleagues. And in this distress, the young colleagues sometimes pass on the content of their own training or competition experience to the social dancers unfiltered. The reasons for this are complex, and I have compiled some of them here. As a rule, the young colleagues are not involved in the creation of the course program. They don't get to see many of the decisions and discussions that led to the program being designed in this way. They also usually do not have the opportunity to teach the same dances and movements, the same lessons a few times, to really get experience with this specific unit. And insecurities are also overplayed. Hier sind wir. Genau. Insecurities are overplayed, as silence is not well endured, and the logic is, as long as I'm talking, I'm in control. And there is a huge difference between knowing something and being able to do something. This is true on both levels, for the young colleagues on one side and as well as for the participants on the dance classes. And finally, teaching time is perceived as one block for our young colleagues. So what now? In the end, for young colleagues as well as for our students, Big goals are best divided into small, doable units. For young colleagues, such an approach makes it easier to plan their teaching time. So let's see what kind of situations do we have in classes. These are only examples, and the terms can be adapted as well. The order of the phases can, of course, be adjusted individually. Likewise, some phases repeat within a lesson. The point here is just to understand the idea. At the beginning of the lesson, all students arrive. The idea is here to greet the students in a friendly manner and to give them orientation. The first dance should then be relaxing. It is important that all students feel comfortable here. If possible, there should be no initial questions. During this time, the teacher has the opportunity to establish contact with each couple. Tuning in preparation for new content that the students are to learn today, we can highlight important aspects once again. Based off the movements and figures that our students already know, we bring the couples up to the same levels and clarify any final questions. After that, the couples dance again what they have just gone through, securing it. The goal is for the couples to feel confident and ready for the new input. Then we work it out. The couples learn the new content. Ideally, all couples are well able to follow along due to the preparation of the previous phases. Afterwards, the new content can be practiced to the music. The dance instructor now has the opportunity to coach the couples individually. Shortly before the end, all couples may dance one more dance that everyone enjoys as much as possible. And then the dance instructor says goodbye to his group. We don't have much time today. I just want to show you with this graphic that for each of the phases, different aspects are important. The focus is either on the couples, the group, the teacher, or the topic. You can see it in the graphic. The following parameters can help young colleagues here to prepare for the specific phase. First, of course, the question of how the teacher should best behave. Secondly, it is important to be clear about who has the attention. For example, are the couples watching the teacher in order to learn the new content? Or it's the teacher watching the couples to give advices and corrections. Also, it is important to be aware of what is the focus, what is the topic of this particular phase. Aspects of the music are also important. It is possible to plan in advance which tempo, which music style, etc. And finally, the young colleagues can then plan a lesson using the building block principle, which could then look like this, for example. It starts with the greeting through the individual phases and then ends with the goodbye. Yeah, that's it from me. I hope I have given you a small insight in the short time. I look forward to having the opportunity to present the topics in more detail in the near future. And I'm happy to hand over now to my dear colleagues, Evelyn and Gabi. Thank you very much.
Very interesting. Okay, now our part concerns funny thing that happened to me. I am in order to have the archive under my hands, under my arms in our office. And the archive is full of old technique books. And I passed several times 2 technique books, very thick, and I show you. And I took one of them home. What? Here. I hope you can read it. It says the Encyclopedia of Social Dance. And dear colleagues, I never heard about this. I didn't know it exists. And I was so suspicious to find out what is the content, what is inside of these books. And we give you a brief information how it is built up and what is the reason for me to get interested together with Gabi to find out and to study what it's all about, Mr. Albert Butler's Encyclopedia of Social Dancing, because there are things which I never heard, and I think they are interesting to try out, and they build a new idea of getting another part of content in the hours what you teach. If you come to the phase, what do I do during the next 5 minutes? Now Gabi starts to go into the fundamentals, into the first thing. So I can explain the fundamental basics.
Achso, nee, ich habe keine Freigabe.
Ah, we don't have a free. Oh, that's sorry.
Misunderstood.
Sorry.
Moment.
So we worked out certain points. Can she get? Kann das öffnen?
I try to get this on.
Teaching aims. Fundamental basics.
Ich habe keine Freigabe.
Julia, kannst du eine Freigabe für uns machen?
Einmal Gabi zum Co-Host machen.
Julia, bist du noch da? Ferenc? Julia ist nicht mehr da.
Dann halt hoch.
Dann muss ich das so hochhalten. Und darunter ist jetzt was. Sehen das alle? Oh, schade. Julia ist nicht da, Ferenc ist nicht da. Okay.
Nimm das.
Sorry, ich war nur ums Eck. Was braucht ihr?
Eine Freigabe?
Die habt ihr schon.
Ja, Gabi scheint kein Co-Host zu sein, weil sie den Bildschirm nicht freigeben kann.
Okay, weil ich habe nämlich nur Evelyn da
Ja.
drauf.
Matthias, kann ich dir das schicken?
Klar?
Ja, dann.
Ja, machen wir so, weil ich habe nur Evelyn als Participant und
Okay.
als Co-Host, aber Gabi nicht. Sorry, wusste ich
Okay.
Rechne weiter.
nicht.
Gabi, schickst du eine Mail oder WhatsApp oder was machst du?
WhatsApp?
Ja.
Okay, so we wait a little bit. The Butler system started in 1938, and Mr. and Mrs. Butler had a dance school in New York City until 1978. No, 77. They both studied body mechanics, and he was the president of the Dance Teachers of America. And she wrote down what they were talking and what they were studying. And therefore, we start with the fundamental basics, which are very, very interesting. And it's about what you teach, how you teach, and why you teach, about the W's. When I go, it's not on now. We have here, this way.
Matthias muss es haben.
Matthias, hast du das? Kannst du das öffnen?
Bin gerade dabei, es dauert noch irgendwie 3 Klicks.
Okay, dauert noch 3 Klicks. So, Mr. Butler said in his system, body rhythm first and foot rhythm second.
Sag mir mal eben, welche Seite ich nehmen soll.
Ganz hinten, noch weiter.
Seite Body Mechanics. Stopp.
Da.
Da.
Noch ein davor.
Ein Stückchen hoch.
Ja. Ja.
Das, genau.
Ja. So.
Geringer?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
perfect, perfect. Now, here you see, that's our aim, the teaching quality for the young dance teachers. When these 5 minutes arrive, what shall I do now with my class? The steps are okay, and I talked about lead and follow, I talked about the music, but here now comes in the quality of teaching a couple and teaching body mechanics, that's the movement, or teaching the musical part. So he says body rhythm first and foot rhythm second. What does this mean? And the body rhythm beats the foot rhythm, but we know the beginners want to learn first and look down where the foot is going, and that you teach about left and right foot. So if you switch it around, and if you teach sometimes longer, not only for beginners, but maybe for medalists, then you start to think about what is body rhythm. And he explains this very, very good in his book, which we now are about to translate or to study. So can you scroll a little bit further down, so that we see now what does he means with body mechanics. So here he explains how to straighten up, how to find your own balance, how the body rhythm and the foot rhythm is different to teach at different times, how to turn the body, and how to get the characteristics or the dance stylistics. And here he explains the difference between the ballroom dances, the swing dances, against the Caribbean dances or the tango. He starts with a synonym that calls dance gaits, because we all know that social dancing starts from normal walking. And the normal walking starts with the 1-step and the 2-step and the 3-step, which is very nicely explained. So we scroll further on, please. Now we have here the elements, what Walter Laird calls action used. And Albert Butler explains walks, semi-runs, or runs, a dance walk, a dynamic dance walk, a swing walk, a Latino walk, or a tango walk. Very interesting. And for instance, I didn't know what the difference is between a dance walk and a dynamic dance walk. The next element, a 3-step, and it can be a shuffle, a chassé, a passing step, or a corner or angular step. The very important one we all know is the box. In Germany, it's not called a box, but internationally, it's the basic of the waltz, forward side close, back side close. Very interested if it is closed or open. Open box further goes for a weave action. The next one is very important, a rock. In every dance we have a rock step, I think, except the Viennese waltz, but every dance has a rock step, forward or backward or sideward or whenever. And the spot turn or the right and side and left side passes. So these are couple positions. We go on to the movements, and he explains not the foot work, but the foot usage. And here we see 3 elements, that you have a full weight, a part weight, or a delayed weight. This is not important if you use your heel, your ball, or your rise and fall. That comes much later. Can you scroll a little bit more? He explains inside and outside turns, and he explains forward and backward turns, solo and as a couple. The counter movement is what we call CBMP or CBM, not CBMP, against the side lead and the bounce we all know. Now, further down, we see the stylistics or the characteristics. I explained the dances which need more stretch muscles are the ballroom dances for the swing dances, and the muscles you squeeze, the squeezing muscles, who really get your body rhythm working in the Caribbean dances, what we call Latin American dances. He explains a lot about the muscles, stretching muscles and working muscles. And he explains characteristic steps for each dance. So every dance has a walk, but some dances don't have a semi-run or a run. But here we again see all the walks in the different dances. Can you scroll further on? A very interesting word is the couple engineering. It's another word for lead and follow. How to move together, how to find a balance in a couple, and how to turn together, how to lead a person and how to follow. Get ready to dance is the build up of the whole body. And he explains that every joint in your body should be over your standing foot. So the get ready or the start of the dance, very important to really find a whole bar of music before you place your first step, and how and which muscles you use if you do not step, if you have your feet in place, but you all over the standing feet work your muscles. The use of the counter center point goes into lead and follow, that within a couple we have a center point and we work against it or to it and away from it. And this is called the counter center point. Again, if you scroll a little bit more down, you have the elements again, the pendulum step you all know. You saw Martina very nicely do it in the Viennese waltz. We have the side step, we have rock and box again, spot turns, change of places, right and left. Let's just repeat. Can you scroll further down? Or are we ready now with the Butler system?
It's done, yeah.
Yeah, that's already done. So we have put it in a list. And if you want to have the list, if you're interested, I think Gabi can send it.
We try this fundamentals and this basic stuff in the beginner class, also as in dance teacher classes, so it fits from all difficulty to get this stuffs inside the teaching.
Yeah, we tried it out. The doses makes it. What do we use for beginners? And what do we use for our student classes? So this is a few overview what the Butler system can be and how it can help to fill class. Yeah, Julia or Ferenc?
So, thank you very much. Thank you, Evelyn. Thank you all lecturers. May I, in the name of the Social Dance Executive Board and in the name of the Board of Directors, I would like to thank all lecturers today to their fantastic working and
Oliver Fleidl hier. Meine Telefonnummer ist die 0179 733
Oliver, mach mal dein Mikrofon aus.
79433 733. Also 0.
Oliver, we can all hear you. Can you?
4618. Ich habe eine Schleimbeutelentzündung und mein Doktor hat mir 6 Krankengymnastikeinheiten verschrieben.
Oliver,
Oliver!
Okay, I muted him. Sorry.
Very good.
Oliver.
So good to know his phone number now.
War ich jetzt noch zu hören, oder wie?
Ja.
Geil. Dann wisst ihr jetzt Bescheid.
Inklusive Schleimbeutelentzündung.
Ja.
So, first in our language, danke vielmals euch allen. Es waren sehr tolle und interessante Vorträge heute. And I hope all the participants can really get some ideas more. And my biggest wish would be that we in the next half year, maybe somewhere in middle of Europe, must not be London, must not be Blackpool, that we can make a seminar, not a webinar, a seminar, because all these matters what you have bring forward has the right to bring that really for the informations to all dance teachers all over the world. You know, the biggest difficulty for the executive board for the social dance branch is to reach the dance schools, to get in contact with all dance teachers. That is our biggest problem. I am now a few years the chairman, and my biggest was this Enttäuschung? Disappointment was always all what I have done together with my executive board, with newsletter, information, and so on. It's coming to the different member countries, to the presidents, and the most of them, I think you know that all, the most of them are presidents for competitive dancing. And they have not really the biggest interest for social dancing. The most of them forget that we would never have dance sport, except competition dancing, if we don't have dance in schools. As you already said, this pyramid, the most people are coming to us not because they want dance competition. They want to have fun. They want get in contact. They want to have to know new people and so on. And that is what is my biggest problem. I am still working on that, and I hope in a few years can we reach really all the dance teachers. My old friend Rudi Trautz was before me, the chairman also. We was really fighting to get all these informations. I am sure on the end, may I that say, if we can reach with all these informations, what you all together bring now today to in this webinar, that would be really a revolution for our social dance system. I hope you understand me. Thank you very much, and see you in Blackpool. Bye-bye.